Hey, so 5 minute selling with Alex Goldfayn. I don't have the physical book, but guess what? I read the PDF. And if you're thinking, can I really sell in just 5 minutes? The answer is heck yes. This book was so helpful. I can't believe that he wrote it and he's given it to all my competition. I'm really disappointed in him, but that's okay. He's coming back on the show. He wrote Selling Boldly, and now he's got this new book, 5 Minute Selling. It is fantastic. Things you can do in just 5 minutes. But I got to say, Alex, really, man, this is going to crush me. Why'd you write this book, bro? I'm disappointed. You should have just told me this book.
Well, it's great to talk with you again, Phil. I appreciate the fact that you put on yellow glasses from a yellow book, right?
That's it, right?
That worked out well. Wiley's going to appreciate that as well. So thanks for doing that.
Sure.
Great to be with you again. We've talked a couple times before for the last two books, ironically, for Selling Boldly and then for the Revenue Growth Habit, which I think are up over your left shoulder there. I think I can see them from a distance. So thank you.
Sure.
So listen, 5 minute selling is about growing sales in 5 combined proactive minutes a day. So give me 5 total minutes during the day of, did you know I can also help you with this product or this service? With asking for the business, right? When can I expect that signed proposal to come back in? 5 minutes of asking for a referral, of following up on a quote or a proposal. Now, each of these things are 3 to 5 second activities. I'm saying, give me 5 combined minutes. And yes, also of picking up the phone and making some phone calls. And if you can do that for 5 minutes a day, which is 25 minutes a week, you can and will grow your sales dramatically.
That's simple. That's so simple. And yet it's so brilliant because we spend so much time selling as not selling, right? We do non-revenue producing activities. We do the email, we check social media, we get this done, we get that done, and we don't actually sell. So 25 more minutes a week of sales, less than half an hour to make more sales. Boy, that seems like a good investment to me. So why so much? I mean, I know there's going to be resistance to this. I know people are going to say, I just don't have the time. So why so much resistance to this, Alex? Why don't let's do it?
Either that resistance, I don't have the time, or the resistance of, come on, man, in 5 minutes, I'm not going to sell more in 5 minutes, right? So well, you're right. We'll have both resistances there. So look, 90 to 95% of salespeople sell reactively, right? The phone rings all day long. Customers call us. They have a problem or an issue or a concern. We have to solve it. Customers are rarely happy when we're interacting with them because there's an issue, something's wrong, something's urgent. So we spend our days picking up the phone and reacting and serving the customer. We have to serve the customer. We can't say, I'm sorry, I'm doing proactive work right now, right? I'll get to that when I'm back in my reactive moments. You can't do that. You have to serve the customer. So if we can be proactive for 5 minutes a day, we are instantly in the top 5 to 10% of salespeople because all of our competition is almost entirely reactive. So if you can find moments to pick up the phone and say, Phil, it's Alex. How are you, man? I was thinking about you. How's your family? How's everybody doing with all the craziness we're dealing with, right? What are they doing for school? School's starting soon, right? Maybe it started already for some of you. What are they doing? Are they going? Are they going to be in the building? Are they going to be remote? Connect with people. Connect with humans. You know, we think our customers' phones are ringing off the hook. They're not ringing off the hook. They're sitting in silence. Nobody's calling. People are afraid to call. We're uncomfortable. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to hear no. Even voicemail is perceived as a rejection, right? Oh, God, I got voicemail again. I failed. So your customers, ironically, are more reachable than they've ever been because we're all doing the same thing. We're all sitting here at our desks, but nobody's calling them. So I'm suggesting to you, and this doesn't need a book, but I had to write in chapters because, Wiley was making me write a book. This doesn't need chapters. I'm suggesting that you pick up the phone and call people and connect with them. And you're going to have great conversations. And then you're going to want to do it again. And then what's going to happen is you're going to sell more.
Wow. That's not complicated at all. And it's so true. People are their inboxes are full. I'll tell you, people are sending more emails. They're chattering more on social about absolutely nothing that is of value to your customer. They're absolutely wasting time. They're doing stuff that doesn't help. Not that any of those in in a silo is bad, but you have to pick up the phone, right? I mean, you got to make some phone calls. You got to do something, to your point, proactively. So 90 to 95% reactively. I read that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's actually my first note. I was going to ask you about that. That means 9 out of 10 minutes. If we take an hour, that's 6 minutes an hour. 6 minutes an hour that they're not being proactive, right? If we think of it as a time frame, right?
So it's not 90 to 95% of time. It's 90 to 95% of salespeople.
Oh, so the whole time?
Yeah, react their way through the day every day, right? I mean, so when I talk to business owners who are my clients, or when I talk to executives of sales teams, the thing I hear almost always is my salespeople are order takers. Most salespeople are good at taking orders. What we're not, we're fabulous at it. We're world class at serving the customer, and we go and we visit the customer and we take their orders there. And then they call us on the phone and we take their orders there. What we're not good at is expanding that order, or adding to it, or unniching how the customer perceives us. So your customers who've been buying from you for 5 or 10 or 20 years, they think of you as only being able to sell to them that thing which they've been buying from you for 5 or 10 or 20 years. They don't think of you for many other things that they could buy from you that you would like to sell from them or to them, but you can't do any of those things because they don't know. They don't know you can do those things. And so just as the customer niches us for the things that they always buy, we niche them. This is all they need from us. If they wanted it, they would ask me about it, right? Well, they can't ask you about it because they don't know. So I'm suggesting for part of your 5 minutes a day, let's tell people what else they can buy. Did you know we can also help you with this or that? Ask them, did you know questions, and also ask them reverse did you know questions. Each of these things is a chapter in the book. The reverse did you know question is, what else do you need that I can help you with? What other products do you buy elsewhere that I can help you with? I don't want you to go somewhere else. I want to help you with that. So since we're on the phone, what else do you need? And if we ask them these things, they're going to tell us. Actually, if you ask a customer what they need, they actually will tell you. They won't tell you, Phil, nobody will tell you, no, I don't want you to make my life easier today, right? Nobody's going to tell us that. They're going to say, yeah, I want you to help me, right? Nobody wants to remember to have to call somebody else. Let me take the remembering off your plate, right? So you don't have to think about it again. We're talking now. Let me help you now. 5 minutes a day of that can make you a lot of money.
Wow. Did you know that we do this?
Very complicated stuff, right?
Wow.
High tech and complicated.
That's tough, right?
Listen,
so, yeah.
The key is we have to do that in system. The system is the key. So, but that's why 5 minute selling. It's a system. I have a chapter really early on in the book that's called "This Book is a System." Right? That's the title of the chapter. So, and then in that chapter it says, "I don't want you to read this book. I want you to do this book." We've got to do 5 minutes a day in system, which means not when you happen to think about it, but all the time, consistently, over time. When you pick up the phone once in a while, when you happen to think about it, right? When it happens to occur to you. That's a one-off action, right? It's fleeting. It's a snowflake that falls to the ground and melts. And I have this at the beginning of the book. But when you pick up the phone 3 or 4 times a day, and you're going to leave voice messages most of the time, right? So that's a 30-second effort. When you pick up the phone, let's call it 3 times a day to make a proactive outbound call when nothing's wrong. Not when there's a fire to put out, but when nothing's wrong. And you make that call 3 times a day. That's 15 calls a week. That's 60 calls a month. And that's, if my math is right, 720 calls a year. If you make 720 calls to customers and prospects and say, Phil, how are you? I was thinking about you. How's your family? And by the way, what are you working on these days that I can help you with? 720 like that? How can sales not grow? Sales are guaranteed to grow if you make those kinds of proactive phone calls. So in system like that, it's not a snowflake that falls to the ground and melts. It's a freaking blizzard, isn't it? It's a blizzard of activity, of being present, of communicating that you're interested, and of new sales, because that will lead to more business.
Yeah, absolutely. Working in the system is key. People often ask, so what's the best sales system? My answer, it's the one that you're actually going to do. It's the one that you're actually going to put in the time, make the time and do it. And it should be, to your point, and I love you saying this, it is all about being proactive. Nothing is wrong. I'm not in customer service. I'm not calling to tell you your router's broken, your tractor's getting repaired. I'm calling you, to your point, let's make a connection first. Let's talk about how things are. And then let's talk about, hey, did you know this? Or what else can I help with? Simple stuff. That's not that hard. I love your math, though. In the book, you talk about 1 out of 5. So 20% eventually leads to sales. 1 out of 5 eventually leads to sales.
1 out of 5 did you know questions closes.
Right. Yep. Right. Closes. Not today, maybe not this week, but eventually.
But becomes a new line item. 1 out of 5. We know this statistically. Right.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Right. So if you ask, let's say you have your one, here's what I mean by system. Let's say you're on a sales team of 10 people, right? And everybody there asks 5 did you know questions a day, because I can ask you 5 did you know questions right now, right? Did you know that I do sales talks and keynotes? Did you know that I work with organizations to grow their sales? Did you know that there are simple things we can do on social media? That's not one of my things, but I'm saying it just to give you some examples. So each of those things is 3 seconds, right? So if everybody on your sales team of 10 asks 5 did you know questions a day, which means we're asking them for 15 seconds of their life, right? That's 50 a day, 250 a week, 1,000 a month, 12,000 a year. So that's 12,000 did you know questions. We know that 20% close statistically, become a new line item for the first time. Now, 20% of 12,000 is 2,400. So there, we're adding 2,400 new line items to the business. If you're an individual salesperson, work your math, right? What does 5 did you know questions a day turn into? If you don't like 5, what does 10 did you know questions a day turn into? Because that's now we're asking about for 30 seconds a day. Now remember, the book is 5 minutes a day. 10 did you know questions is 30 seconds, right? 60 seconds if you talk slowly and you ask long questions. But that still leaves you 4 minutes to go make more money with. So that's how the math works. Do it in system, you have a blizzard. Do it every once in a while when you happen to think about it as individual actions, you have fleeting snowflakes that fall to the pavement and melt.
Awesome. Easy, simple stuff that we can do. Again, as a sales professional, this is not something that you have to change your life for. It's something that you can include in your system, insert in there, and make it work. And one of the places to make it work is order history. You talk about this in the book, Alex, and I really like that. It makes so much sense, right? The things that people have ordered before that they no longer order from you, chances are they're probably still ordering from somebody else. So why not ask about it, right? Is that what you're talking about in that chapter?
Totally. Yeah. Our order histories are a gold mine of potential new sales, because especially with customers who haven't ordered in a while. So if you can organize customers or clients who used to buy something but haven't ordered it, say, in 6 months or more, those are golden opportunities to reach out to and say, hey, Tom, I was thinking about you and I noticed it's been 6 months since you bought this. Do you need some more? And your odds are really, really good, better than 50-50, that they're going to say, well, yeah, I kind of, either I've been forgetting to order it. I've been meaning to order it, but I've been forgetting to order it. So thank you. Or they're going to say, I've been buying it over there and kind of tried them out. But, since I'm on the phone with you, that's the incredible value of being there and being present, right? You're going to hear all the time the customer saying things that start with the phrase, since we're talking, comma, right? Why don't you put a quote together for me for this? Or why don't we talk about this training or service or thing that you sell? So a lot of times the thing that you reach out about is not the thing that you end up talking about, because they're going to say, no, I'm good on that. But what about this? Since we're talking.
Wow. So simple, right? Since we're talking, which means you have to get them talking. You have to get them on the phone. You can't do that, accidentally. You have to get them on the phone. And one of the things that I really like that you say is there's only 2 good reasons to send an email. So talk to us about that, because that is the opposite of what most people would tell you. So 2 good reasons. Talk to me about those, Alex, and why you believe that.
So if you're in business-to-business sales, an email is just very slightly better than doing nothing at all, right? So for B2B sales, an email is basically useless. But there are two decent reasons to send that email. And number one, a good use of email is to schedule phone calls, right? So we use them to say, hey, are you available on Tuesday or Thursday at 9? Because I'd like to connect with you and catch up. Or what's a good day for you next week? Or when would you like to talk? So number one good, decent use of email is to schedule calls. Number two decent use of email to schedule is to follow up on your quotes and your proposals by email. So you can send an email to Tom and say, hey, Tom, I was just thinking about you. Where are you at on that quote or proposal that we discussed? And so you can, that's one line, off it goes. That's a decent thing. You know what's a lot better than email for follow-ups, Phil? Is text messages are so much better than emails. And the reason it's not close, right? The distance is significant. The reason is they pop up on the phone in front of the customer's eyes, and you know that the phone is next to the customer, right? The email, it may go to the junk folder, it may go to the spam filter. You don't know if it even got there. You know if you sent a text, it got to the phone, right? We pretty much know where this landed. And so if they're not responding, you at least know they saw it, right? It's really hard to miss a text. Even as we're talking here, my phone lights up, I look at it. You know, you look at it in real time. So it's far more proactive, I would say, right? People like to use the phrase disruptive. I don't love it because it's kind of like a negative connotation, but certainly it gets in front of people's eyes a lot more, and you know where it landed. And so I'm a big fan of text messages far more than emails. And now, as we're all sitting at our desks during the pandemic, you know, everybody's sitting next to their phone. Look, your customers now, as we talk, are more reachable today than they've ever been on the phone, right? More than they've ever been. Nobody's running around. Nobody's got meetings in person anyway. We've got Zoom meetings, but we don't have in-person meetings. Nobody's traveling anywhere. Nobody's flying anywhere. You know, I used to, I don't know, spend 2-3 days a week on the road. I don't. We're all doing the same thing now, Phil. We're all sitting here at our desks, right? That was mine that you heard. So our customers are more reachable than ever. And ironically, almost tragically, worse than ironically, tragically, they're more reachable than ever, but we're calling them less than ever. Nobody's calling them. Their phones are silent, you know? And I've probably heard dozens of times, Phil, clients say to me, when they called their customers told them some version of, gosh, your competition must not care because you're the only one calling. They're not calling. You're the only one calling me. You must be the only one who cares. Guess who's going to get the business? The silent competition, or you who's present and saying to them, listen, I care. I want to help you. Tell me how. Who's going to say no to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to come at that with that attitude. I mean, you talk about mindset in the book, and I think it's really important, but that mindset to serve, that you have value, that you can add value, and that you will add value with some energy and some positivity, and not, woe is me, my name is Eeyore, and I'm calling to bother you, Alex. How
I'm sorry
are
to
you?
disrupt.
Right.
To interrupt your day.
Right. Yeah.
I want to take a couple minutes of your time.
Yeah. Right. That's horrible. So come at it, right? Know that you have some value. Fix your mindset, because as you say in the book, right, mindset isn't fixed, but it can be fixed, right? Meaning we can improve it. We can make it better, but it isn't static. It's not going to stay here.
Yeah. You know, mindset literally determines your sales success. So our sales cannot outperform our mindset, you know, meaning we sell how we think. And so if you think, you know, as we were just joking with each other, that you're bothering the customer and that you're annoying them and that you're stepping on their toes and that you're bugging them and that you're taking their time, well, that's exactly how you're going to sell, you know, meekly, fearfully, tiptoey, you know. If you believe you have great value, which you do, I believe that about you. Now you believe that about you, right? If you believe you have great value, if you believe you're going to help the customer, you're going to try your hardest to help the customer. And I don't doubt that on any single conversation that I have. Then you behave accordingly there. You behave confidently, you behave boldly, you behave positively and optimistically. Look, if you can bring your customers optimism and positivity now in this environment that we're in, now in normal times it's this way too, but if you can bring them optimism now, Where can they go to find positivity and optimism in their lives right now? To the television? To the election? To the news? It's nowhere, right? Everywhere we look, things are the opposite of optimistic and positive, right? Things are awful. And so if you can infuse some positivity and energy and enthusiasm and positivity, man, they're going to latch on to you and they're never going to let go. They're going to keep that close because there are no sources of it in people's lives. You're going to be the only one.
Yeah. Used to be social media was possible for that, but even now we see that's become a bit of a cesspool as well. So reach out, call people, give them some of your juice, give them some of your positivity, give them some of your belief that things will get better, even if you don't know the time. I mean, holy crap, like historically, things have never been bad forever. Yep, that's right. Never been bad forever. As I look at that, so as we think about that, though, you mentioned face-to-face and now we're work from home, right? We can't get belly to belly. Now, the best we can do is eyeball to eyeball. What do you think about video calls, Alex?
Yeah. So I want to make a point and then I want to answer the question. I wrote this book in January, which was pre-pandemic. You know, I was on the road. I think I had 18 different audience sessions in January. And what I would do is I'd wake up at 4 a.m, I would write, and then I would do my all-day session or half-day session or whatever I had. And then I would go so in the morning, I would do it at the coffee shop on the road, and in the afternoon and evening, I would do it at the bar on the road with a different drink. But anyway, it was not pandemic time when I was writing the book. Well, in May, I wrote a foreword for the book, and everything in the book has to do with selling from a distance, selling virtually, selling remotely, using the phone, making communications that tell customers about how else you can help them. It doesn't have much to do with meeting them. And so what I wrote in this foreword is everything in the book, which was not written during pandemic times, is actually more effective and more applicable and more useful now than it even was when I wrote it. So let me answer your question about what do I think about video calling. I think that videos are a suitable replacement for meetings, but don't use them as a replacement for the telephone, right? Because I feel like now people are getting zoomed out. We're getting over zoomed. Everybody's a little box on the screen, you know, and you see box everywhere. I have phone calls now, Phil, and it's a relief. You know, I said to somebody yesterday, I was talking to them on the phone. They actually sent me a Zoom invite and I called into it. I said, I'm not doing another video. I called into it. And when I'm on the phone, I can walk around. I can think. I can go outside. I can stay inside. And I almost feel now, oddly, that the phone has more dimension to it and depth than these Zoom videos do, right? Because, I don't know, I can, instead of looking at the person, I can hear their voice and I can react to it. And for me, for some reason, you know, now we're doing all the Zoom work and we're using the phone even less than before the pandemic. Not more, which you would think, but less. So I'm telling you, figure out how to get good at selling on the phone, and you're going to put so much distance between you and the competition that they'll never be able to catch up. You know, ironically, the tool we're using the least right now is as important today as it was in the 80s when we had nothing else, when the phone was the only thing.
Wow. And you know, that totally makes me realize that video, well, it's wonderful to see your eyes and such. It's even better to be convenient for that other person and to be able to inject energy. Because frankly, if I'm sitting down or if you're sitting down, you don't have full energy. But if we stand up and we walk around, now we've got an opportunity to do that. And the path of least resistance, that's why social media has worked for so long and now it no longer does, is because nobody was doing it. So if nobody's doing phone calls now, which is likely true, then take the time to make some phone calls, right? Take some time to make some phone calls. So what about, just real quick here before I get to my next question, that is, what about a video follow-up where they're not required to be on video? You mentioned text message. If I send you a video that says, hey, Alex, it's Phil. I just want to follow up. We had a great conversation and I was thinking about you, and here's some more information, or here's a question that I have. Here's a did you know that I have. What do you think about that?
In the early 2000s, when I was trying to get speaking gigs, when I was young and I was trying to get speaking gigs, I would send VHS tapes, you know, demo reels, but I would record a little message for the viewer on VHS, full VHS. And a lot of our viewers don't even know what the hell that is right now. And so your question brought me back 20 years ago. I think it's fine. I think depending on the buyer, right? If the buyer would react to that kind of thing well and be impressed, do it. Great, but you've got to use your judgment, because some buyers are going to find it a little hokey, maybe. I think about the people that I sell to who are business owners who have been doing it a long time, or they run large organizations of sales folks. I don't know that I would do it. I would do a phone call. I would do a text message. But there are certainly buyers out there who would respond relatively well to it. I also think about the ones that I've received, Phil, and sometimes they make me cringe a little bit, because somebody's sort of sitting at their camera and they're talking into the camera, but they're talking to me, and it feels a little awkward to me. But that's me. So I think there's people it could work for, and I think there's people maybe that you should just revert to the good old phone or text messaging.
Okay. No, I think knowing your buyer is great advice regardless, right? So that's the first step. Understand your buyer. Know if, to your point, it will be an intrusion, or if it's just your belief that it'll be an intrusion. Second, get better, right? Practice it. See if you can get better. See if you can improve. And once you do get good, then use that more if that's what your buyer wants. I think that's solid advice, Alex. So good. So, hey, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I want to get back to your talk about the system, because I think that's so central to your book, 5 Minute Selling. I think it's so important that we talk about that. So talk a little bit more about kind of that snowball effect, if you will, of the 5 minute selling system and why it's so effective over time, and then how to get started with it.
Yeah, I think the system is the thing that most salespeople are missing, a system is nothing more than repeatedly taking action consistently over time. That's all a system is. It's just doing the same things, the right things, consistently over time. And so in 5 Minute Selling, there's 2 planners that you can download from my website. And then there's 2 trackers as well. And so the planners give you a place to lay out who you're going to call. So people to call, customers and prospects. So I'd like you to make your list for the week, at the beginning of the week. And then there's a follow-up planner. So these are pre-quote and proposal opportunities to follow up on, and quotes and proposals to follow up on. Make a list of names that you're going to reach out to this week. And you could do both of those in 10 minutes. You can literally fill them both out together in 10 minutes. And then as you go through your week, I'd like you to track what you're doing, track your activity. And there's an activity tracker, 5 Minute Selling activity tracker, again, available from download when the book launches, August 24th. Piece of paper where you write down the customer. What did you say? What did they say? So who it is, what did you say? You call to follow up on this proposal. What did they say? Well, they're still thinking they want me to follow up in 2 days or 2 weeks. And you make your list of activities. And that activity list becomes a gold mine of opportunities to follow up on as well, doesn't it? So 2 weeks from now, you go back and you look at your tracker and it's filled in with 15 or 18 different things. Well, you pick up the phone and you start to follow up on those. So that's the system. 2 planners, 2 trackers, 5 minutes a day. At the beginning of the book, Phil, I lay out a 2-week challenge. And the 2-week challenge is give me 5 minutes a day for 2 weeks. And that's 50 minutes, 50, right? Because there's 10 days out of 80 hours of work time. I'm asking for 50 minutes. And you do 5 minutes a day for 2 weeks. You will see new opportunities opened. You will see existing opportunities progressed to a close, and you will see new closes, new money. So the 2-week challenge, it's listed right there on my website. There's even a new Slack group where we can get together and talk about these things for anybody participating. There's no cost for that. All of this is going to be up and ready on August the 24th. And there is no way your sales won't grow if you do these things for just 2 weeks.
Absolutely. No, it's a great book, Alex. It's really easy to read. 5 Minute Selling. It's easy to read, but it takes time to do. And I really like you say that, and I want to reiterate that. This is not a read book. This is a do book. this is an opportunity to create a system or to use a system that's already created for you to blow your sales through the roof. 1 out of 5 did you know, reverse did you know questions ends up converting to a closed won opportunity in time. But you got to work the system. You can't do this accidentally. So folks, go and get a copy of 5 Minute Selling by Alex Goldfayn. It's a great book. It's a gold mine of information that you can use to then build your gold mine of sales. Really great stuff. Alex, thanks so much for spending time with me once again, my friend. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much, Phil, for having me on. I'm always grateful for your support, and I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So get a copy, folks. Go get 5 Minute Selling today, or rather pre-order it and then get it on the 24th. Have an awesome day. Good selling to you.